The air in his office was thick with dust, the dim light from the ancient lamp casting long shadows on the stacks of papers and books that cluttered every surface. Professor Samuel Stone sat at his desk, staring at the cryptic tome he had uncovered earlier that week in the basement of the university's library. It was an old thing, its leather cover cracked and worn, the title barely legible, Veritas Abyss. He had found it tucked away behind other forgotten relics, its pages filled with symbols and strange glyphs he couldn't fully understand. Yet there was something about it that tugged at him. He had spent nights poring over its words, trying to decipher the strange passages. At first it was nothing more than an intellectual curiosity, but soon it became an obsession. The more he read, the more his mind was consumed by it. The symbols seemed to pulse and shift on the pages as though they were alive. They wormed their way into his thoughts, even invading his dreams. And the dreams, they were the strangest part. They began innocuously at first. Samuel would find himself standing in endless halls of impossible architecture, darkened corridors that bent and twisted like the bones of ancient beasts. He walked these halls endlessly, guided by a shadowy figure whose features he could never quite make out. But as the nights wore on, the dreams became more vivid, more disturbing. He saw visions of the earth split open, of cities crumbling beneath the weight of enormous tentacles that reached from beneath the ground. He felt a presence lurking just beyond his sight, something vast, something ancient watching him. And then, the coincidences started. At first they were small, finding money he hadn't realized he had, papers being accepted to conferences he hadn't expected to attend. But then they grew more significant. His lectures became more captivating, his words drawing rapt attention from both students and colleagues alike. He was promoted to head of his department seemingly out of nowhere, his career rising faster than ever before. It was as if something was guiding his life, bending it in ways he couldn't understand. It should have made him feel triumphant, but instead he felt a growing dread. The night they came for him, the rain was pouring in torrents, rattling against his office window. He had been working late, once again drawn to Veritas Abyss, when he heard the knock at his door. 3 slow, deliberate knocks. He froze, his heart racing. It was late. Far too late for anyone to be here. Slowly he rose from his chair and approached the door, his hand trembling as he reached for the knob. When he opened it, there were 3 figures standing in the hallway, their faces obscured by the hoods of their long dark robes.
Professor Stone, we came for you.
The one in the center said, his voice low and rasping. Samuel stepped back, fear flooding his veins.
I don't know who you are. You shouldn't be here.
He stammered, his voice shaking, but the figure stepped forward, undeterred.
You've seen it, haven't you? The dreams, the signs. You've been chosen.
Chosen for what?
Samuel demanded, his mind spinning.
To serve him. Qui est pater abyssi nostri?
The figure intoned, his voice reverberating through the air like a distant thunderclap.
The dreams are no accident. You have been marked by Veritas Abyss. You are the vessel through which our God shall return.
No, I don't want this. I'm not part of your cult.
He shouted, backing away from the door. The figures didn't move. The leader raised his hand, a long bony finger pointing directly at Samuel.
You cannot run from fate. The veiled prince has chosen you.
The professor slammed the door, his heart pounding in his chest. He stumbled back to his desk, grabbing the cursed book and shoving it into his bag. His breath came in ragged gasps as he made his way out of the building, ignoring the cold rain that lashed at him. He ran through the empty streets, trying to shake the feeling that they were watching him, that the shadows were moving, shifting in ways they shouldn't. The city itself seemed to pulse with a malevolent energy, as if something massive and hidden was stirring beneath its foundations. In the days that followed, Samuel tried to distance himself from the book, from the strange dreams, but it was futile. The dreams grew worse, and now they were joined by a hellish fever that sent him into delirium. He couldn't sleep without seeing that shadow figure, without feeling the pull of the abyss beneath his feet, as if he was being dragged into hell. He saw the cultists everywhere, watching him from across the street, lurking in doorways, their eyes gleaming with dark purpose. His mind was unraveling. Samuel's once ordered life had become chaos, He couldn't teach, couldn't work. His colleagues whispered about his erratic behavior, his disheveled appearance. No one could understand the burden he carried. The weight of it was crushing him. One night the dreams shifted. No longer was he a mere spectator to the destruction, the dark halls of the veiled prince. This time, the shadow figure in his dreams turned to face him. Its form was impossible, its presence suffocating. Its colors, beyond recognition. But as it glitched, moving closer, Samuel came to a dreadful realization. It was himself. And in that moment, he understood. He belonged to it now. Not now, he had always been a part of it, a part of something greater. The fear that had gripped him for so long began to fade, replaced by a cold, terrifying clarity. The fever was gone. The book, the cult, the dreams, it was all leading him to this. His fate was not something he could escape. It was written in the fabric of reality itself. You cannot run from fate. The next morning, Samuel stood before the cult once more. His resolve hardened. The rain still fell in sheets, but this time he didn't feel the cold. The leader of the cult stepped forward, bowing his head slightly.
You have accepted the truth.
I am the chosen one, the vessel of our Lord, the veiled prince, the whispering abyss, the maw, our god, Nilathargoth Octanomen.
And as the cult surrounded him, their chants rising in unison, Samuel felt the presence of the veiled prince closing in, the abyss yawning wide to welcome him. He wasn't afraid anymore. He was delighted.